Welcome back. Hand, foot, and mouth disease is very common among children younger than 5 years old. It's often mistaken actually for chicken pox, which is why it's important to know the distinction and the difference so you can probably get the thing treated. So with us today, we've got Sanford pediatrician Dr. Stephanie Hansen. Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Thanks.
I got to be honest, I don't know anything about hand, foot, mouth disease. So what is it? What are people looking for?
Yeah, it's really become a lot more prevalent over the last decade. We're seeing it a lot more in that younger age set. It's a viral illness spread, very similarly to coughs and colds and that sort of thing. That causes fever, not feeling well, and then a blistering rash that you can actually get on your palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, and then get the blisters in the back of your throat. So that's why it's called hand, foot, and mouth.
Okay.
Do not confuse it with hoof and mouth, which is a livestock disease. Totally different illness.
But that's kind of where your brain goes to when you hear it. So now, is it passed through like saliva?
Yeah.
So
it's spread through a contact route. So touching saliva or blister fluids or dirty diapers, and then not washing hands properly. That's how it's spread.
How prevalent is it? I mean,
exceedingly prevalent. We see it all year
Really?
round. It will wipe through daycares. It's actually a very common illness.
and so if it's not treated appropriately, what could happen?
Well, the biggest thing we worry about with kids in that situation is dehydration. If their mouth hurts, if their throat is sore, especially if they're really young, they're not going to want to drink any fluids. So they run the risk of becoming dehydrated. And I think that's probably the biggest risk that comes with it.
So what do you give them, an antibacterial or what?
No, it's a viral illness, so no antibiotics, no treatment that way. It's just managing their pain, so using things like acetaminophen or ibuprofen and making sure you're keeping them hydrated. So doing little bits of fluid throughout the day, kind of getting them to drink as much as you can.
So it's not deadly, it's just highly contagious
Yeah.
and not good.
Exactly. Makes you pretty uncomfortable.
And how long do you typically have the symptoms, and how early should you get it treated?
Yeah, so really you'll start to see that fever and rash pop up right in the early stages, and that can last, 3 to 5 days, sometimes up to a week. And again, staying on top of pain, keeping kids hydrated, that's the main way to take care of them.
Anyway, I guess the best way to prevent it is just keep washing your hands and stay clean, huh?
Yes, hand washing is honestly one of the best things you can do over these months to help protect yourself from all kinds of illnesses.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because there's so much flu going around and people not feeling well. How often is it? Like every hour you should be washing your hands, or what do you suggest?
Well, I think, during those times where you're going to be touching your mouth, that's important. So I think anytime before you eat, but also at any time you use the restroom, when you come in from outside or leave to go somewhere else. If you're going to be doing something with your child, either administering medication or touching them, it's a good idea to just make sure your hands are clean.
I get mixed reviews on those antibacterial things. What's your take on them?
If you're in a hurry and that's all you have available, it's pretty darn effective. But I think nothing really beats a good scrub with warm water, running water, and soap.
I got to ask you, just because we got a couple minutes here, and because it's such a prevalent conversation in the media, what's your take on this coronavirus situation?
Yeah,
what would you say to a layman like myself that's like, I don't really get what's going on?
Yeah, so coronavirus is a respiratory virus that can cause really serious illness. Lots of media attention to this because there have been a number of deaths associated with. Here at home, here in Fargo, North Dakota, I'm way more worried about things like influenza, common cold virus, strep throat, hand, foot, and mouth. And those are the things that we really should still continue to pay attention to.
That's what I keep hearing from everybody. It's like, hey, the flu is actually much more prevalent and problematic than what's sucking up all the media.
Yes.
Anything else?
The flu is a deadly respiratory illness as well, and so that's something to make sure that you're aware of and doing your best to protect yourself and your family.
How many people did we lose in America via the flu last year? Do you know? Was it average 60,000 or 8,000?
It's a pretty high number.
Yeah.
It's in that tens of thousands range, and that includes children, that includes young, healthy adults, that includes our elderly population.
So how many people has America lost to the coronavirus? Zero, right?
Right.
So why is the media giving it so much attention?
I think just because it came up so quickly, because of its contagiousness and its spread, and that there have been deaths associated with it.
Yeah, fascinating. Always great to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I kind of like the free flow. Just, hey, what do you think about this, Doc? All right, stick around. We got much more coming up right after this.